Why do I got a bank statement in the mail with an account that I don't know nothing about?
First of all, don't come in here yelling at me about no account. I have an account to make sure I'm good. That's why the account is there.
Why are you taking money out of the account while I don't know?
You are my husband. I have to make sure I'm good. I'm not. If we were to ever get divorced, I'm not about to be out here with nothing. What are you gonna do about it?
What am I gonna do about it?
What are you gonna do about it? I don't care about it. I'm so serious. I'm not about to argue with you about no money. I'm not
about no money?
No, I'm not arguing.
It's just money to you, right? $22,000 is just a little bit of money to you, huh?
For as long as I can remember, I've been seeing black women do some of the most heinous and criminal-minded, reckless things that you could imagine. And there's some unspeakable things, some horrors and shit. And a lot of times they were played off as like, oh, what's going on with that female? If I listen to relatives and siblings and shit, of that gender talking, they always kind of rug swept it, as much as humanly possible and downplayed it and shit. I've heard some heinous things that no man should hear at any age, coming from women, in our African community. And I just hate the fact that they, we're socially engineered to hate one another and shit. But more often, the most successful job is that men and women really can't connect, in this community the way they should. It's very rare to see. And a lot of times you only see that in relationships where people are damaged and broken and codependent and shit. That's when you see true love, as they call it, in our community and shit. And you always see these women, they go out of their ways for the criminal-minded, they're said. They take their fucking, kids to see these motherfuckers in jail, and they hold a drop gun and shit. And, they up front fighting if they get in some trouble, and they do all this fucked up shit, And this clip right here, where a woman has been embezzling money from the marriage, from a joint bank account, okay? And I don't think I need to tell any kings out there about that. That whole joint accounts thing needs to go out of the. Don't do that, okay? Don't ever fucking do that. That gives a woman free reign to use your money for whatever she likes, and more often than not, she's going to be spending it on another person and shit. Probably with her friends, or most likely the guy she's cheating on you with and shit, okay? Now, I want to show you this because this is going to be another episode of what I'm calling the Dr. UMAR Chronicles and shit, because that motherfucker and his ilk and shit, and some of these other assholes whose group I'm not going to name, they keep telling you about having a dialogue with black women and shit and all this crap. And it's been over 4 decades of this nonsense, of this bullshit, if not 100 years. Okay? Some people had a plantation mentality and they ain't going nowhere. It's genetically ingrained them in them shit. Okay? And I'm looking at this clip and the woman's like, what are you going to do about it and shit? Because like right when he showed up and shit, he stupidly let her know what was going on instead of talking to an attorney or the police and shit and seeing what his options were. He went and confronted her immediately. She had embezzled $20K from him. However long she was married, she was socking away that money he didn't even notice because he trusted her, okay? And some of you fuckers are going to call him stupid and shit for not keeping his head on the swivel economically and shit. Okay, and I just don't want to fucking hear it and shit, because a lot of times men are looking for something substantial in these relationships. They're looking for an emotional connection and shit. They want that, they want that other half, the whole Bonnie and Clyde thing and shit. And unless you're a reprobate criminal and a sexual deviant, you're not going to get that a lot of times inside our community, because our women have been trained to see us as an opponent, okay, if not a rival. Like, I would say they see us as an opponent. They're always trying to undermine you and fuck off your dreams and shit and discount your life experience because it makes them uncomfortable to have to do the heavy lifting and shit that they demand you do in a relationship. Right? How do you feel when you see something like this? I know how I feel when I see this and I think about the comments that Dr. Umar made and shit, which is why I'm making it another one of those Dr. Umar Chronicles and shit, okay? because he talked a lot of shit. He was pandering and everything. And I'm like, look, motherfucker, if you're gonna do that kind of shit, you might as well just put a goddamn dress on and stick a tampon up under your shit, okay, buddy? Your pussy is talking, all right? And I'm getting tired of this shit. I'm looking at this clip and I hear that woman say, "What you gonna do?" And I'm not gonna lie to you. Me being me and thinking about it all. When she said that, I get a visual of what she would probably like him to do on some level and shit, because she knows she's a piece of shit. She knows she ain't nothing. She's trash garbage. And she hates having her player card pulled, because most women want to get out of this shit smelling like a rose. They want to come out of every fucking situation with smelling like a rose and having plausible deniability if you're actually right and shit, okay? I remember my first girlfriend, man. I called her in a lie about something. I called her dead to rights, bullseye and shit. And she could not get out of it. You know what she did when she was cornered and shit with irrefutable evidence of her own bullshit? She got on her knees, man, and topped me off. And then she put on a sexual clinic and ran me up and down the walls and shit. And then we didn't even talk about that shit anymore. I didn't know what I was even mad about. I forget I had her dead to rights and shit. And she just played it off. She waited a week before she started not even that, before she started a new bullshit. In my defense, I was 19. All right? There were other factors. But yeah, she had nowhere to go. She was, cornered. I had caught her in a bunch of bullshit. Dead to rights. She got down and I don't give a fuck if she hears this shit. She knows it's true. She got down and she knocked me the fuck off. And then on top of it, being a femme fatale and everything, she stood up and then told me, "What you gonna do about what you want to do now?" So we went there. Okay, we went there, up and down and all around the bitch. And I didn't even remember what the fuck we were talking about after that and shit. But when this female started talking about, after being confronted with irrefutable evidence of her embezzlement of what is supposed to be an emotional connection and all that bullshit, I just saw the guy, like, putting a pillowcase, taking one of the pillows off the bed and taking a pillow out of it and sticking a pillowcase over her head and just, doing what he had to do, doing some criminal ass shit. Because a lot of motherfuckers, overly emotional dudes would react that way. They would pummel the shit out of her. She would be beaten the fuck up and dragged all over that place and shit. They probably put that pillowcase over her face and then put a gun up to her head. This shitty. You love somebody so deeply, and then when they do these things, it cuts you to the core of your being and shit. And a lot of the times you could, we try to get guys to avoid this shit, but I think that's wrong-headed thinking. I think we should prepare men to always perceive women in this manner as something, unfortunately, less than, even though they have all this intelligence and they this, that, and the other, and they got the over, they have a support from the minority majority. You have to see them the way they see you, and not be overt about it, but just, don't let them get into your accounts and shit. Keep them at a distance. Always keep them at the end of your circle and shit, until you know who they are. You don't know who they are. Women are chameleons by and large. They have a hypergamous criminal mentality. She explained why she stole the money from him, all right, and she used that money for other shit too, probably. And now that he's exposed her, she feels no need to keep up with the charade and shit. Think about that. Think about, like, they probably got married and had an actual wedding ceremony and all this bullshit. And it turned out it didn't mean nothing. It was all an illusion. She didn't never give a shit about the marriage. She didn't ever love this man or care about this man and shit. To think that, she would one day have to get a parachute up out of this bitch. And it doesn't matter where she learned it from. This is just who they are as people and shit, okay? This is why they're at the bottom of the metric, for marriageable partners and shit. I'm talking about the sisters here in our ethnic community. It's sad and shit, man. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. If you wanted to marry somebody over here, if you wanted to truly have black love and be black loyal and all that shit, like, what could you do? You would need a private investigator, and even that wouldn't be conclusive and shit, because You never know what a woman is going to do until they do it and shit. And they're always going to catch you when you're in the middle of something, when you're in some crisis or shit, or when you're sick or in your deathbed. I notice a lot of bullshit happen whenever the men in my family die. You see these women doing these horrific things that they always wanted to do, but the guy was too strong. They had to wait until he was in a weakened state. This is the nature of feminism as it relates to them attacking us. They only do this shit when they perceive you to be in a weakened and diminished state. Okay? The whole nature of Me Too and everything. You're gonna look at Jonathan Majors and shit, and a couple other people. Look at that Bill Cosby shit. Yeah, bitches reaching from the 60s, from the 50s even, trying to, fucking, steal money from them. Okay? And a bunch of other people and shit. You can see, why get married? The house always wins and shit. It's a grift. Right? These women don't care about you. They don't love you. It's sad to see this clip and see this man grapple with the shit. Just think how he felt when you first read that. I bet the first thing he thought was to go in there and give her a two-piece. Okay? I bet he felt like just pummeling her. I bet he felt like kicking her in her ass and everywhere in between this shit, between her ass and her appetite. Okay? I bet he felt like that. But then, we have to have discernment and shit. That if you do that, you play into her game and shit. Into her wild. So women are adept at fighting on their backs and shit. And you take that how you want it. I say, treat like this CDC situation. She's a biological weapon and shit. Does she enhance your life in any way? Does she bring anything that makes your life better outside of a lower brain function? All right? And this is a thing that concerns me. This is why marriage is it's a lost cause in this country and any country, that has these Western ideologies and shit. I'm not a Muslim or anything and shit. All right, I believe in a higher power. I do. I can't deny the fact that there is a higher power. All right? And I won't mince words with you. I want you to be unapologetically masculine to a T. All right? I want you to be selfish. Think of yourself first. You have to break the chains. You have to stop falling on your knife for people that wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. Don't do business with people that spit in your face. Okay? Love yourself enough not to be in this situation, my kings. All right? That's all I'm trying to tell you. And I'll tell you that because I care. Because I'm an old motherfucker from Generation X that has been around the block more than once and shit. And I've experienced many things. Every now and then, maybe I'll share a snippet of myself. All right? I'll share a snippet of myself because it's not worth it for you to go through that, for me to have gone through that, and it to mean something. I need to make these videos and tell you the truth. That's why SBM equals Save Yourself Black Man.
We say she's not humble enough. She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs
if
to
we
be
was
more
loving
selective.
our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
This message has been paid for by the Dusties. Yes, the niggas you love to hate.